Hi 106, welcome to week 5. So we will be working through unit 4, going through page 65. So it's not the complete unit. There's some ensemble pieces that I dearly wish we could do, but it just isn't going to work well with the type of format we're using this semester for class. So unit 4 is reviewing that 5-finger pattern that we talked about this past week. So just reviewing your 5-finger pattern, how to find the first 5 notes of every hand position is tonic. That's the name of your key. It's movable. Whole step, half step, whole step. So as we said, it's sometimes quicker and more efficient, and sometimes you'll find that you're more accurate finding your accidentals that way rather than thinking through your key signature. Remember that with your right hand, tonic is on that thumb, but with your left hand, tonic is on 5. So your pitches then are going to go parallel. So on page 59, they've given you some patterns. They're grouping them together by the key color of the chords at the end. That's fine. As I suggested last week, I would put these in through lots of patterns. I would practice around that circle of this. I would do chromatic. I would do all white, go up and do all blacks, use different articulations, use different dynamics. They have you adding 1 chords or tonic chords at the end. That's a great thing to do too. With the tonic chords, we're going to start to put them in an arpeggio. So we're getting ready for fingerings, but for right now, we want to get used to just spotting where those chords are. So what they're showing you here they're going around by fifths. I would rather that you take a look down here at the bottom of page 61 and use this for your arpeggio pattern. So we're going to go across 3 octaves and then end with a tonic. We're going to use a pattern of left, right, left, tonic. So I would suggest playing them blocked first as a full chord. Your book does not descend. I would recommend descending. It's always harder to go down, so challenge yourself going down. Then you can go ahead and separate it. And again, I encourage you to go down as well. And then they're asking you to go up by half steps. Again, I would suggest doing it blocked first and then separating it out. So that's called a hand over hand arpeggio. Hopefully it's getting you to spot where you're moving by the topography of the key, and it's getting used to that motion and pitch before we add fingerings in a few weeks. On 62, 63, you've got your grouping of sight reading pieces. We've seen this in every group. You've got a variety of keys. You have a variety of meters. You have a variety of articulations and dynamics. My biggest thing I want to point out to you is watch your register. So on etude, notice you've got 2 hands in treble clef. Notice on study, you've got your hands extended octaves, an empty octave in between. So be very careful when you're setting these up. They also have suggested transposition keys. I encourage you to transpose to those as well. We will take a look at several of these in our class periods together, especially taking note of the register, making sure you're in the right octave, and we'll do some transposing with them. So if there's one of these in particular that you want to make sure we do in your class, take note of it so that when I ask for requests, you can ask. Page 64, Little Scherzo is your piece for this week. This is your weekly grade. With Little Scherzo, again, notice your register. You've got both hands in treble clef. With both hands playing the whole time, whenever I see that, the very first thing I'm going to look at is how do the hands relate to each other? Are they parallel motion or are they contrary motion? I can see by the shape that they're parallel motion. Makes me very happy, cuts down on my learning time. The second thing I'm going to look at is where I'm having to move. Your composers usually are going to put a finger number where you're needing to move position. That's your little red flag. So I would start this piece by looking at where I'm starting my lineup. I've got 3rd space C with my thumb. I've got treble clef E with 5. I stay in this position for the entire first 2 lines. Look at measure 9. Your 5 and 1 have both stepped lower. Skip over to measure 11. 5 and 1 are stepping lower. Look at measure 13. 5 and 1 are stepping lower. DC Alfini is going to take you back to the beginning. I'm back up here. So make a roadmap for yourself. Here's where I start. Measure 9, measure 11, measure 13, da capo. Then take a look and go through that right hand. Look at your movement. You got great articulation here. Once you have that learned, because it's parallel motion, all you need to do is bring that left hand along for the ride. I'm looking forward to hearing great articulations. You've got staccatos, you've got slurs, you've got tenutos, crescendos, great dynamic difference. So little scherzo, if you read carefully, what are you for your weekly grade? It is the piece and a hand-over-hand arpeggio in the key of this piece. You can upload that to Canvas. You can make an appointment to come play it live, or I'm also going to listen at the end of class periods after I've answered everyone's questions and gone around and touched base. If I have extra time, I'd be happy to listen to you in class. The last thing you should be working on this week is page 65. Harmonization. We'll work on this together on your assigned class day 2. This time, instead of you having to figure out the chords as we did last week on the exam, they have given you the chords. They're all major and they're asking you to put them in root position. Again, please ignore this line. Please don't bother to write it out. You're not going to have that spot to write it on exams or on the proficiency. I know you can do it in your head. So with the first one, I'm in the key of F. Again, left hand's not written out, so you can put this wherever you want. But an F major chord. Then I see at measure 2, they're asking for an E flat chord. Back to an F chord. So they're asking you all for root position chords. I know some of you have talked to me about playing them in inversion. You've had some training in this before. You certainly can start to do that if you wish. But root position is a good place for everybody to review their theory. The measures where they don't have the chords written in is because it's a duplicate of the first, so you can write it over there. They want you to put the chords where they have them marked. You don't have to worry about following the meter because it's been predetermined for you where to put the chords. Remember, your melody needs to follow that register. So you have one in F and one in A with all major chords. If you prefer reading Roman numeral, you can certainly go through and write Roman numerals in for these relating to the key if you prefer. For proficiency, you will need to be able to read both letter name and Roman numeral, so your book does switch back and forth to try to train you in both. So harmonization will be something that in class we will work on too. If you need any extra help on any of these new elements, please feel free to reach out as well. So I look forward to seeing you this week. We'll work on sight reading, we'll work on harmonization. I'll answer any questions on little scherzo, and we'll do some hand-over-hand arpeggios. So by Friday at 5 p.m., I expect to hear little scherzo with a hand-over-hand arpeggio in that key. Have fun.